Welcome to another night at Fringe. I'm here with another Fringe artist ready to sell their show. We're going to get into selling it right about now.
Okay, the show is called Scott Murphy Sailing Lessons. It's a character comedy show about sailing and death.
Look, Tom, but the show is called Scott. It's a Scott show via Tom. What is the deal there?
I play a Kiwi sailing instructor called Scott Murphy. The name obviously is one of those like Kiwi names that has definitely come from an Irish or Scottish kind of heritage. I live in Scotland and I feel like a lot of people in Scotland are very obsessed with sticking a pin right through the world and coming out in New Zealand, and that kind of like mirror image sort of thing of the same kind of weather, the same kind of people.
Does that mean that you're bringing a Kiwi accent to the show?
Yes, David, it does. It's a sort of specific kind of Kiwi accent that I've kind of taken from where Scott originally comes from in the Southland, in a place called Cromwell. The reason being that it's the most inland point of New Zealand. That's why I've chosen that sort of place, and I've sort of done a bit of research about how exactly I can, manipulate that voice and make it also a bit of a character, make it kind of funny.
He sounds like a very intriguing guy. He's giving us boat lessons in your show. This is your premiere show, the first show here at Perth Fringe World. How are you feeling in terms of your first show here?
So I've had a couple nights of it now, and I think there were times at which I was worried that I had bitten off a bit more than I could chew, but now that I've kind of gotten to grips with what I'm actually doing for the whole hour and have started to really have fun with it, it's just, there is no greater return on something than if you can go out there for an hour and just play with an audience and have a lot of fun. It
does sound a lot of fun. I've been watching a couple of videos as well. So in terms of the sailing experience, you're going through all sorts of tips, tricks.
Mm-hmm. So we cover, everything you're going to need when you're out on the boat, out on the water. We cover the equipment you'll need. We'll cover a couple of knots that you might need to tie. I teach you to sing a little sea shanty as well, just for good measure. I grew up sailing with my parents and everything, so I'm pulling a lot of material from things that sailing instructors have said to me in the past and kind of over-amping it, putting it through the lens of this sort of wacky character, putting a bit of sort of like clowning technique, sort of a lot of failure in it, to make it obviously comedy rather than just documentary.
Right, so the genre is comedy, and the videos that I've seen are pretty darn good in terms of the audience. Are you looking to do lots of touring with the instructional sailing show?
So I'm I've just confirmed that I'm going to be at Brighton Fringe as well, and I'm looking into taking it to Edinburgh as well, maybe also Greater Manchester Fringe in the interim, because that's where I grew up. So
why have you chosen Perth as your Fringe festival debut?
Probably because it's a festival that I feel like lends itself to very, very weird and alternative things kind of coming up and getting by, doing sort of all right. It's a good place for me. It feels like a good playground for me to sort of test out doing longer form style of comedy, which, I've up until this point had only really been doing like 5, 10, 20-minute sets or so. But it's a really good opportunity to go out there with someone who perhaps isn't as well experienced and still have people come see your show and be enthusiastic about it, and still be enthusiastic to take flyers from you as well.
I guess, in terms of Nights of Fringe, we want to know how you found Perth so far.
It's been great. Perth as a city is so beautiful. I had honestly no expectations. I knew that it was the most isolated city in the world. Someone once told me that it looked like LA did in the 80s. It's a really, really nice vibe, and obviously the weather is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been good weather for you so far.
So far, it stopped me from sleeping the first couple nights, but I've acclimatized.
Yeah,
and now I never want to go back.
Bit of bliss. In terms of being new to the Fringe world, there are obviously a lot of artists that you may have met because you're now an artist. Are there anybody that you're recommending, or anybody you're really keen to go and see across the Fringe dates?
So, last night I saw Karen from Finance, which is brilliant. I'd really recommend at my venue, Perth Mess Hall, we've got a show called Todd Talks, improvised TED Talks, run by some really, really lovely guys, and just a really hilarious night. Tonight, I'm going to see Mandy Knight though, and I'm so excited. I've seen her do 5-minute sets back home, and she's filth. Utter filth.
So
Brilliant.
Monday night would be your recommendation for anybody who potentially wants a little bit of filth in their life.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's a great recommendation. You can catch Scott Murphy sailing lessons at the Perth Mess Hall across January and February, but not Mondays and Tuesdays. Thank you so much, Tom. It's been absolutely a pleasure.
Thank you so much, David. I
Legend.
really enjoyed it.